The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM and hits 103.9 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM and on myjoyonline.com. We are also live in all 16 regions of Ghana via our various affiliates on X Spaces, YouTube, and on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Coming up, momentum building around calls for government to declare a state of emergency in areas devastated by illegal mining as University Teachers Association of Ghana mobilizes to shut down public universities.
The pollution and all the health issues associated with galamsey. University lecturers and students are not exempted from that. So this is a matter of life and death. It's when you are healthy and you are alive that thinking about going to school.
But the Environmental Protection Agency says declaring a state of emergency in mining areas could trigger a bloodbath between the military and illegal miners.
They don't know what they are calling for because the cost of human life there is going to be enormous that we may not even, in the end galamsey.
Also, in a giraffe, farmers grapple with mounting post-harvest losses as tons of maize rots in storage amid market inaccessibility and prolonged drought conditions. More as stakeholders in the sector demand appropriate mechanism for distributing foods produced in the country to avoid waste as well as revenue loss.
When government issues a blanket ban, you need to find a mechanism to agree on a price that's very competitive for the farmer, so that when you issue the ban, the farmer knows that inwardly I can still sell the maize and make profits.
In sports, Asante Kotoko expressed frustration over the pace of justice 7 months after the death of their supporter, Nana Frimpong Pole.
Also coming up, a day of anger and demonstrations in parts of the country as scores take to the streets over different concerns. In Tamale, 3 protesters are injured, 2 of them critical after police fired gunshots to control angry students of the Tamale Teaching Institute. We'll be live in all 3 protest locations for you this afternoon. And also, President Mahama has revealed the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation and exploration subsidiary are advancing plans to drill 2 new exploration wells by the end of the 3rd quarter of the year 2026.
The sector is picking up with increased production of gas from the Jubilee and OCTP fields. At present, 3 super majors are at various stages of commercial negotiation with the Ghana Negotiations Team and GNPC.
There's more as the president prepares to break ground for the much anticipated Big Push project. I am Hannah Odame. I'll bring you details of these headlines and more in this bulletin on Joy News. We are independent, we are fearless, and we are credible. This afternoon, pressure is mounting on President Mahama as calls grow louder for him to declare an emergency in areas devastated by illegal mining. The University Teachers Association of Ghana is escalating the demand, warning the public universities could be brought to a standstill in the coming days if decisive action is not taken. UTAC President Professor Mamudu Akudugu, speaking to Joy News, said the association is prepared to take a firm and final decision at its biennial conference, a move that could plunge the tertiary education sector into crisis. But first, let's hear from Government Communications Minister Felix Kwakye-Fusu on yesterday's Super Morning Show, saying President Mahama has not entirely ruled out declaring a state of emergency.
And as president, you do know that he has to take that decision on the basis available to him and what he perceives to be the capabilities of the assets that he has deployed to fight this canker. He believes earnestly that currently some gains are being made that could be sustained. And as and when we get to a stage where it is absolutely necessary to deploy those measures, that will create some discomfort for ordinary citizens and may involve measures that may not necessarily be in tandem with the way that our laws should function and all that, he will take the decision as leader. So let me say that he has not ruled out a state of emergency. He just believes that we need to give ourselves a bit more time in order to be able to get there. But that said, since he became president, he has done everything that has to be done in order to ensure that we beat back on Galamsey.
Well, we know that Professor Akudugu is reiterating that UTAG will decide on shutting down public universities as outlined in their July 17th statement.
For us, we believe that something drastic has to take place for us to be able to effectively deal with this demonstration. And so, whatever we said, we still stand by it. We are having our biennial congress just the end of the month. And so, a final decision as to how to proceed will be made on that point.
We are sure that there should be drastic decision, and a drastic decision include you holding on to your shutdown of public universities.
Correct. Have you heard of the water shortage in the central region? The University of Cape Coast is not exempted from that shortage. The pollution and all the health implications associated with Galamsey. University lecturers and students are not exempted from that. So this is a matter of life and death. And so it is when you are healthy and you are alive that you'll be thinking about going to school. You're thinking about being able to learn and be able to focus. That aside, if you look at it, we are the people who train, at least at the last end of the human resource. We are the funnel or the gatekeepers. And we train our students in environmental sustainability and all the rest of it. So how do we continue? What am I going to tell my students about preserving the environment at this point in time when the environment is being destroyed at the rate that will put all of us at risk?
Well, there have been reactions from governments on the calls. Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Agency, Professor Michael Ayamga Adungo, has cautioned against calls for a state of emergency in mining communities, warning it could escalate tensions into violent confrontations. We hear that because the Catholic Bishops' Conference have also been speaking for a state of emergency. But then speaking on the polls yesterday with Elton Brobe, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the EPA, said deploying the military under such a declaration risk direct clashes with illegal miners, which could result in bloodshed rather than resolving the Galamsey menace.
It's easier said than done that declare state of emergency, go there with guns and shoot it. 2-3 years ago, we would have said, okay, it's Chinese financing illegal mining, and then you had businessmen and politicians going in. Now what we are increasingly seeing is community involvement in illegal mining. Every day in my office, I get people coming to report to me, come to our community. Then the end game is, can you talk to them so that they also allow us to do some of the mining? So if we take in guns here, we are going to have a bloodbath. That is one thing I can tell you for sure. It's easy for you to sit somewhere and say, impose state of emergency, send in the military and let them do the job. But I can tell you, everybody calling for the state of emergency,
they don't know what they are calling for.
They don't know what they are calling for because the cost of human life there is going to be enormous that we may not even, in the end Galamsey, we may end up having a conflict growing out of it.
Well, as earlier noted, the Catholic Bishops' Conference say this is not the way to go. They are echoing the call demanding that President Mahama declare a state of emergency in the areas that have been hardest hit by Galamsey. Let's hear more from a statement they released on this matter.
In a strongly worded pastoral message signed by the president of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, Most Reverend Matthew Kwesi Jemfi, the bishops warned that Galamsey, quote, ravages our rivers and forests, poisons our soil, endangers public health, corrupts governance, erodes our moral fiber, and extinguishes livelihoods. They stress that the situation is not a routine challenge to be managed with half measures. Rather, it is a national emergency requiring decisive, extraordinary responses. The bishops describe the scale of environmental devastation as a profound betrayal of humanity's sacred duty to care for creation. Citing alarming figures, they noted that rivers such as the Pra and Cobra, Brim, and Ayensu are laced with mercury and other toxic effluents, with Ayensu registering turbidity level of 32,000 NTU compared to the Ghana Water Limited's maximum treatment threshold of 2,500 NTU. They also condemned the human toll and social rot associated with illegal mining. According to the conference, the government's response has been slow and inadequate despite repeated appeals.
Well, as we noted, the EPA says declaring a state of emergency could result in a bloodbath. Will that be? Let's speak to convener of the Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Professor Kenneth Ashibe there. You heard the Deputy EPA boss on the state of emergency. What is the reaction to it?
Did you say Professor?
Please,
doctor,
I
am not.
Doctor, say.
What I have is a doctorate in business administration. So, okay, I'm not too sure the deputy CEO of the EPA has read the Constitution, Article 31 and 32. I am not too sure he's read the Emergency Powers Act 1994, Act 472. I'm not too sure he's read it. Because if you go and look into those two pieces of legislation, the things that should be done, what a government would do, and bear in mind, this is President John Mahama. This is a president who upholds the rule of law. He's not a president who would be draconian in his dealing. The pieces of legislation talks about the fact that the government may take reasonable and justifiable measures. And these examples of that include detaining and restricting movement. So if it is the water body that currently nobody goes there to fish, but all they do is so you can restrict, deport non-citizens. That is something we are doing already. Take control and acquire property. So in terms of these excavators that have been seized, now you don't need to wait and get to go to court and make sure you have finished prosecuting the person before you can do forfeiture. Under the state of emergency, you can take control and acquire those properties. You can search premises without warrants. You can suspend the operation of law within a particular place. So you can decide curfews can be imposed. Order removal from an emergency area. So these are the things that you do. You don't, under a state of emergency, go and take a gun and be shooting people. And what you do under a state of emergency are prescribed. Laws are prescribed that. We're not asking for a shoot to kill. That's not what anybody is asking for. We are saying that we've been doing several things and they've been resulting in the loss of life. Mm-hmm. Is the EPA deputy CEO not seeing the 8 people who died? He's not seeing the people whose renal diseases are taking them away. He's not seeing people who are losing their lives, currently do not have water. Yeah. The people in Kwenyako, as an environmental agency, is he telling us that 32,000 NTUs of water is something that we should be countenancing? So please, let nobody throw dust into our eyes. The state of emergency is controlled by 2 pieces of legislation, the Constitution and also the Emergency Powers Act. They are very clear in what has come to be done. Unfortunately for us, we have a president who would be able to take that and work within the remit of the law.
Okay. Thank you so very much this afternoon, Dr. Kenneth Ashibe there. He's a convener for the Coalition Against Illegal Mining, and they're both talking about the state of emergency. Let's delve into exactly what that is, and we have here Kofi J, his lead data analyst at Joy News. Tell us about that.
Well, so Hannah, the president is the only person who can declare the state of emergency under Article 31 of the Constitution. As soon as he declares it, he has to tell Parliament, and he needs 1/3 of parliamentary votes in Parliament to be able to do that. And as it speaks, as it stands now, Parliament, the NDC has more than 2/3, so they should be able to go ahead if they so want to do this. Through Parliament. If Parliament does not approve within 7 days, the emergency is expected to end. And if approved, the emergency can last for 3 months at a time, but the president can extend it for 1 month or at least, afterwards. And Parliament can also cancel it at any time if they think it is no longer needed. And in fact, all rights will be curtailed except the right to human dignity, fair trial, and the right to challenge the government of Ghana in court.
That's what a state of emergency is about. Thank you, Kofi J. Well, it's been a day of anger and demonstrations in parts of the country, with 3 separate demonstrations over very different concerns, yet united in one theme: frustration. There were 2 of those demonstrations in the Greater Accra region and 1 in the Northern region. We start from the Northern regional capital, Tamale, where 3 protesters were injured after police fired warning shots to disperse scores of angry students protesting high fees and poor amenities. Here's one of them explaining how things escalated.
Demonstration on a peaceful note, and it's all about school fees, increment of school fees that generated this demonstration. Initially, we started it very peacefully. Then all of a sudden, they involved the police. This is a student's affair. They shouldn't have been police. They even drove their car in and started spraying. I don't know what substances it is, but I'm sure it should be hot water. They started spraying it on us. That's where the students got angry and also started throwing back at the police. See, you can barely look around. We keep paying school fees, but there's no sign of anything. We keep paying money every year. But they are all interested in we paying school fees all the time. And we can't keep paying school fees. See, imagine you go to this school for 5 good years, 2 good years, 5 good years, 2 good years without completing without certificates. And when you go, they'll be like, they fought it from CTVET, they fought it from ICT.
You heard a student there. Now, Martina Bugri is our correspondent on this bit for us, and she joins us for more on this. So, Martina, tell us exactly what the situation is as we speak.
Well, as we speak now, the protest is ended. The campus is back to normal. Students are actually not in class, but they are in groupings, and what they are doing is discussing what just happened this morning. It was a chaotic morning in the school. The students had gone to some chief palaces in the area to present their petition, and when they were coming back, they started burning ties at the entrance of the school. They had blocked the school main gate, stopping vehicles from coming in or going out. They managed to stop them. They moved to the school itself, and then it was there the situation escalated. The police came in a water cannon, a very fast move. They came in. They started spraying hot water on the students. The students started pelting stones back at them. And that's how some shots were fired. Rubber bullets hit some of the students. We have 2 students who have sustained injuries in their head, and then 1 in the leg. One of the students who has an injury in the head also has an injury in the hand.
But how are they faring now, those who got injured?
We are told that they are not stable. We tried to speak to some of them. Hospital authorities say they are not stable yet, and so we can't speak to them as we.
What about the police? What have they been telling you?
The police has not responded. The students actually spoke to the police to leave. They will be able to, the leadership of the students, they will be able to handle their own affairs. And that's how the police left. Now, we've also been speaking to the public, the communication director of the university, and he says that management would meet in the soonest time, and then they would give us an update for what has happened today. But to go into the substance of the matter, he was not ready to discuss that.
Thank you very much, Martina Bugri there. Let's bring you to the Greater Accra region and to Kumbaria, where scores of residents also took to the streets to protest the slow pace of work on the main Tema Aflawo Road, as well as other issues.
Well, a Hifana factory, a war baby, seen the Ghana, and Yako. So we deserve better. You understand? We deserve better. See, my wife is a midwife. It came to a point people were losing their lives because of the bad nature of the road. You understand? Let's say when emergency happens right now, from here to General, you lose your better road. We deserve better road.
Well, we understand that Katamanso Municipal Assembly has had to shut down its office today as a precaution. But then joining us now is Francis Arthur. He is the GPRTU Tema Newtown Branch number 2 union leader, and he was part of the demonstration. So, Francis, tell us why this has become necessary for you to be on the streets today.
Madam, and it is true. We, the drivers of the union, we are the users of the road. And due to poor road, we always go to workshop anytime. I can assure you, you cannot, because of the road, you cannot give your car, taxi driver, to work on this road. Simply because the money he will give it to you, he will come and take it back in additional. You understand me? And this road has been there for a long time.
Okay.
You see?
But then,
so we have been suffering too much.
We have had
today, if it's not your tie, it will be your bow joint, it will be your shocks, it will be your spring, a whole lot of them. We are tired. We are tired of this road, madam.
You are tired and you've been demonstrating, but then have you heard from the assembly as well?
So many attempts, both NDC and MPP. We have the last time we demonstrated on this road, one of our taxi driver, who is a secretary at Committee 1, he was shot by a bullet. You understand me? He was shot at the bullet, rubber bullet.
We had there Francis Arthur. He's the GPRTU Newtown Branch number 2 union leader. Well, in the heart of the capital was another demonstration led by the GPRTU. And this time the concern was that it's about the takeover of the CMB lorry station by some private developers. Well, my colleague Stephen Mensah has been monitoring that protest and joins us live on the phone lines with more. Stephen, we know the concerns, but has there been any official response to this?
Yes. So an official representation from the presidency has received a petition from the concerned traders and the drivers, GPRTU drivers at the CMB district. Bridget Otu, the presidential staffer who received the petition, indicates that it will be treated with all urgency, particularly because of their concerns.
Thank you very much, Stephen Mensah there, and they will all bring us updates on these demonstrations in subsequent bulletins. We'll take a short break here. When we come back, Ejura farmers are grappling with mounting post-harvest losses as tons of maize rot in storage amid market accessibility and prolonged drought conditions. More as stakeholders in the sector demand appropriate mechanism for distributing foods produced in the country.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I dey use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I dey go bed safe. It dey make my teeth white when it dey comot every scent from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I dey show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste, Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Everywhere, for everyone, yeah.
This year is going to be sweet. I don't just feel it, I know it, because the Luckiest Season 3 is back.
And I'm about to show you how to grab your golden ticket. Just dial *712# and follow the prompts to purchase your ticket. Or go to the luckiestafrica.com, hit community tickets, and pick your lucky number.
Or let the system do its magic. Choose how much you want to spend from 1 to 5,000 Ghana cedis. You can even buy a ticket for someone else. Be someone's hero. Payment? Easy. Mobile money in Ghana or card if you're international.
One ticket can turn 1 CD into 500 times more. That's maths we love. Or your community go win 10 times more. So let's get lucky together because luck is everywhere.
Yeah, welcome back to the Midday News. What's in sports?
Yes, Hannah. So it's been 7 months since the murder of Asante Kotoko fan Nana Frimpong Pole, yet no one has been held accountable. The case is still in court and the porcupines are calling for swift justice. Here's the club's communications director, Safu Duku.
Last Wednesday we were in court. The matter was adjourned to the 9th of October to see if by then the police would have received their forensic report from Accra. Once the matter is in court, we cannot go deeply into it. All that we are hoping for is for the processes to be sped up. But we cannot put any blame on anybody because of the nature of our judicial system. It has always been slow, but definitely one day the court will make a determination as to whether the 8 people who are standing trial now had any hand in the gruesome murder of our departed brother. But that is in the hands of the courts.
Hannah, so before I go, at the World Athletics Championships, Ghana's Alex Amonkwa failed to progress to the semi-finals of the men's 800 meters after finishing 8th in his heat.
Thank you very much for sports. Let's turn our attention to Ejura, where bags of maize are rotting away as farmers struggle to find buyers. Weeks without rain have worsened the situation, forcing many of the producers to consider abandoning cultivation for the next season. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has more in this report.
Farming is a lifeline of Ejura and its surrounding communities. On a scorching afternoon, Idrisu Mumuni and his family are busy drying freshly harvested maize.
The maize business isn't good enough. For rich farmers, they're able to keep theirs. But for us who have no storage facility, we must sell immediately.
After the 2024 dry spell, the price of maize has fallen by more than half, from 1,200 cedis to just 400 cedis on the market. Yet, with production costs soaring, the sharp decline has left many farmers frustrated and delusioned.
It looks as if stealing is better than farming. Every time they are talking about cocoa, they would neglect us. Our work is more hectic than the cocoa farmers.
Frustration on the market is preempting the farmers from producing more. While some have opted to hoard the maize at home, others are compelled to leave the heaps of their maize harvest on.
Emmanuel Bright-Kweku brought us that report. Now, President Mahama has disclosed that the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and its exploration arm, Exploco, are making progress towards drilling 2 new exploration wells before the close of the 3rd quarter of the year 2026. He said this when he delivered an address at the Africa Oil Week held at the Kempinski Hotel.
On these prospects, ladies and gentlemen, it is instructive to note that Ghana, like most African countries, has large and licensed acreages across our offshore and onshore basins. The onshore Voltaian Basin presents one of the most exciting frontiers on the continent. The Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and its exploration subsidiary, Exploco, are advancing preparations to drill 2 new exploration wells by the end of the 3rd quarter of 2026. This presents a unique farming opportunity for partners seeking to pioneer Ghana's onshore potential.
That's President Mahama speaking at the Africa Oil Week that's ongoing at the Kempinski Hotel. Adobia is here with the trends. So
yes,
what's up today?
Hannah. Yes, the Catholic Bishops' Conference is trend. You know, they've issued a direct appeal to President Mahama. They're demanding that his government should show courage by prosecuting, you know, the powerful, in quote, and well-connected, involved in legal mining, not just the poor, because they're saying delay is betrayal. And so many people are reacting to it. I'll just take one or two comments here. Or some of them are for the motion. They are supporting the Catholic Bishops' Conference, but others too are saying, why are they now speaking? And so it's a bit controversial in the comment section.
So what is one of them saying?
Well, someone says empty promises. Another person too said, oh, are you now coming out to speak? I don't know what that means, but that's what's happening.
Well, with that, we end the Midday News. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. Pastor Mensa Otabel comes up next with a living word.
See your